What do casualties do for you after a battle? Well, in order to show you, I'm quickly loading up a Crone Halibron campaign. And why Crone, you ask? Well, you will see in a moment. Casualties that you inflict versus the amount of casualties that you've taken, that's what decides what type of victory you get in the first place. So there is that. Secondly, a portion of the casualties that you inflict turn into battle captives after the battle. It doesn't matter when you have killed the enemy unit during the battle, as long as an entity has 0 hit points left at the end of the battle, which is when you go into the loading screen, it's a dead unit and that can't become a casualty. Now there's a difference between a city battle and an army battle. After a city battle, you get different options, and that's not necessarily the type of battle that I'm talking about. So this is a city battle where we're actually fighting a garrison. You get a type of battle victory, which is a close victory in this case, and then you get these options. Now these are determined in a different way than army to army battles, and that's not necessarily what I'm talking about for this video. To show you what I mean, I need to get into an army battle, which I will fast forward to right now so you can actually see what I mean by baiting these guys into battle with me. This will take a moment, so I will just quickly go to it. Alright, so here we have a battle. Now, this is an ambush battle. It doesn't matter that it's an ambush, it just makes the battle a lot easier, and I can quickly out-resolve this. Alright, so here you can see we're going to get a certain amount of gold. This is from the units that you've killed. They also have a certain value, and it can be influenced by ancillaries, traits, and technologies and things like that. And then down here, there is 3 options, which I will now talk about a little bit more. So, based on the type of victory, that's the victory you saw earlier, Pyrrhic, Close, Decisive, etc., you can get between 7.5% of the things you have killed. In this case, there are 600 units killed, up to, I think, 12% for Decisive Victory as a base amount of captives. So, between 7 and 12% of the units that you have killed can become enemies captured. This seems to vary slightly, and I think that's because there's a hidden mechanic about unit saving where a couple of units might get saved, but this is only a very low amount. Now there's 3 options here to choose from. You can choose to get either some sort of leadership or experience bonus, usually in the middle. You can almost always get gold for your captives, which is ransoming them. And then there is a third option for replenishment. The amount of gold you get seems to be tied to the unit's quality of the enemy army and the type of victory that was had, not necessarily the captive count. I have had the captive count up almost 100% for certain battles, and you would still get only between 500 and 1000 gold from that battle. So this is not something that you can really focus on to increase. The replenishment of your army seems to be tied to a base value, which is based on difficulty, then increased to a value tied to the lord and the units, and can be increased also by ancillaries, skills, technologies, etc. And it seems to be capped by the amount of captives that you take. So it does not directly increase the maximum replenishment of your army in this post-battle step. Rather, it increases the cap on that replenishment option. The actual amount seems to be determined by the base amount from the Lord and perhaps a couple of ancillaries. There are 3 factions that have a specific mechanism for replenishment, which are the Greenskins, the Beastmen, and the Vampire Counts. And these factions do receive health back per captive, so for them it not only increases the cap, but it also increases the amount of replenishment that they get. Now lastly, the Dark Elves, they get this extra option to enslave the units, which also gives an amount of slaves, which is just one-on-one with the amount of enemies captured. It does not increase the amount of units replenished, nor does it increase the amount of gold they get. It just means you're gonna get more slaves in your slave pool up here. This is why I chose Crone Halibron to show you. The best faction at gathering captives is Crone Halibron. I'll show you once this turn is over what I mean, but she has the most ways to boost the captives by far of all the factions and lords. The first thing that she can get is her faction trait. So there is Casualties captured post-battle, plus 25%. Cauldron of the Blood Queen. Unfortunately, that is only 25% more of the base amount. Now, it does increase as you get more skills. So getting more captives means that this trait becomes worth more. It's applied at the end, it seems, of the calculation, not at the front. So in the beginning it doesn't do very much, but by the end it actually adds up quite a lot. Then on top of that, she has the normal dreaded slaver option, which I think almost all Dark Elf lords have. But she also has this, the Plaything of the Queen, which gives her another 35% extra casualties captured. Now here you can also see how it works in this description. Casualties captured post-battle. Casualties captured, not soldiers captured, actual casualties. So there are not that many more things in this tree that help her to get more casualties. However, there is a technology here where you get another 15% casualties captured. And then there's the very important right, Sacrifice to Cain, which only lasts for 15 turns out of 40, which gives you another whopping 25% casualties captured. Now this seems to be a base amount, so this means an extra actual 25% of the casualties goes into your pool. So this is a very strong right to use. Not only because of that, but also because the casualty replenishment rate plus 25%, and then income from post-battle loot plus 50%. It's just a really good ride. But yeah, so there's another 25% in here. Now, if you add all of these things up, you've got the 35 here, you got the 25 from the technology, the 25 from her faction trait. So she has about 150% more casualties, and most of these bonuses actually apply that amount. So it's not an increase from 8 or 12% base yield to 20%, but it goes up to almost 100% of the casualties that you inflict can turn into captives. So just to recap, every unit you individually kill on the battlefield can turn into a casualty. Units have a random chance to be saved after battle, and these chances are different based on each individual unit, their unit quality and unit experience. I estimate the total amount of units to be saved for a high-ranking army anywhere between 5 and 20% of the losses they've taken. So the remaining casualties are then turned into captives, from anywhere between 12% for a normal army up to 85 or maybe even 100% for Krone's completely boosted army. These captives can be ransomed for gold and used to replenish the army, but the amount of replenishment you get is calculated based on some hard-coded percentage into the faction, lords and units, which is between 4 and 8% base, only to be capped by the amount of units captured. Except for the Greenskins, the Vampire Counts and the Beastmen, who do get a flat amount of replenishment per unit captured. I hope you find this information useful, and if you did, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe because it really helps out me and my channel. Alright, I hope you've enjoyed the video and maybe see you next time.